Hi YouTube, this is our video to learn how to cast the yarn onto the machine. So I've already caked up my yarn. Here's a big cake, and I'm using this yarn, and I got this yarn from the Dollar Tree, and I had to cake it up because it had a lot of knots in it, and I don't want to deal with those knots while I'm trying to make a headband. So I'm going to put my yarn on the ground, and then I'm also going to see if it comes up easily. If it doesn't come out easily, I'll probably take a chunk out, but let's see. And hopefully you can't hear my heater too much because it's kind of cold. So I got the heater on. So I'm going to start with the first black needle, and I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to hook it under the first black needle. I'm going to hook it under the first black needle, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go behind the next needle. So I'm going to go in front, behind, in front, behind. So that one is in front of the first black, behind the second one. And then I'm going to crank, and then I'm going to go in front of that one, the next one, behind the next one. So it's going to be in front, behind. Let's see, I don't want my hand to mess it up, but it's just I'm going to go in front of this one and then behind that one. So it's just a in front, behind, in front, behind. So when I'm going in front, you might can't see it, but just remember it's in front, so it's going to be hooked under. It's going to be hooked under like that of the one, and it's going to be behind the next one. So it's going to be just the in front, behind, in front, behind. Let me see if I can move it just a little bit. So I'm in front of, no, I'm behind that one. So I'm going to be in front of this one. So it's just a continual in front, behind, in front, behind. And wherever you start, when you come to the last one, it should be behind. And then with the central, what you want to make sure you do is you put it inside the tensioner, inside this, all the way down. And then you want to hook it, I'm going to hook it to the, sorry about that. I'm going to hook it to the middle. And then so you can go through and you can make sure that they're all kind of down, because you want it, you don't want to, so everything's in front, behind, in front, behind. Everything's hooked down in there, and it's in the tensioner. So then you just start cranking. And just making sure that everything goes in front, behind. And so this is a attachment that you can use a, let me see if I have it, a drill. Now this drill is, it's just a, it's a Black & Decker, and it's a cordless drill. Now this drill has been charged since I went to Virginia. I found it on my desk in there. So it's probably not fully have a full charge. This attachment is for my Addi. So you just kind of like, and I wouldn't use a drill. I would use like, this is like an electric screwdriver. I'm sorry, that's what this is, electric screwdriver. So I probably would use this and not a drill for these, because this is plastic. If you heat it up too much, you're going to fuse it together. So this one's for my Addi, and this is for my central. So this works on all my centrals. I have two centrals. I have a 40 needle and a 48 needle, and then I have two Addis. I have a 22 and a 46. So you will put, if you want to use a drill, I mean a screwdriver, electric screwdriver, that's what I would use. So this just clamps on. Here's the little opening part, and it just clamps on to here. Just clamp it on. And then you would just take the drill and stick the drill in like that, and then you can go use it. So I'm not going to use a drill for a minute. I'm just going to crank for right now. So I'm going to reset my I'm going to reset my my counter. Let's see. Here's my counter, and I'm just going to push the silver button to push reset. So put it back at 0. And then I'll just hold on to the legs, and then I'll just crank. I'm going to take this off for right now. Take off my attachment, and then I'm just going to crank it. So I'm just cranking it with the little handle crank right there. Yep. So I'm just cranking it, making sure I don't drop any stitches. Uh-oh, see, they got a little knot. I don't know if you can see that, but if I was to keep going, it would pop this off, and I don't want that. So I don't know how I got that knot, because I thought that I had. All right, so I just popped the knot out, and then I'm gonna keep on going. See, because these will break really, really easy. That's why I cake up my yarn. I don't want to pop. I don't want to break this. Even though you can order more online, I don't want to break it. And I probably need to order more before I do. But I try to cake up my yarn so that that doesn't happen. So I'm just going to keep cranking, keep cranking. And it's coming out pretty smooth because I caked up my yarn. And then you can tell if you drop any stitches by, like, if there's holes around. So I'm just going to keep cranking. I don't see any holes. I'm going to keep cranking. And this is what it looks like to cast on with no waste yarn. I don't have any waste yarn. And this doesn't look as tight as the other yarn that we use, but that's okay, because when I take it off, I'll tighten it up when I pull the strings together. So, but if you did want to use the attachment, you just would cup it onto the handle, and then you would just take the electric screwdriver and you just hold it in, you just stick it in there, and then you would just go. So I don't know if you could see that. I'm going to put it up a little bit. I'm going to probably make my hand go like this for right now. So it just sticks in there. So, and the thing about the electric screwdriver, it doesn't go as fast as a drill. But I would still watch and make sure that this does not bunch up, or nothing gets bunched up under here, because it will break. All right, so I'm gonna stop with the drill, take it out, just take it off the handle, and then I'm just going to keep on. See, now it's all tightened up and there's no drop stitches. Have to take this call, so I'm probably going to come back. I'm back, and I am at 84 rows, so I'm going to keep working on this one. I'm going to cast it off, and then I'm going to put on another one. And I'm going to put that one on with some waste yarn. So I'm at 88 rows. And it was touching the table. So like I said, when it touches the table, I just kind of like pull it up a little bit. Not too much, because I don't want to drop any stitches. Put it in there a little bit. So we're coming up on our 90th row. So I'm just going to go 91. I'm going to follow my my black needle, my black marked one, and then I'm going to stop at the black one again. So there we go. take my yarn out. I did get some scissors this time, my little dull little scissors from We Are Memory Keepers. I think that's what, but maybe not, because it doesn't even have a little logo on it anymore. I'm gonna cut my yarn, and I have about this much yarn. Let's see if I can pull it out this way. I got about this much yarn, and let me see. Get a needle. Get the purple one. And once again, I am going to take my needle. I'm going to put it over my thread. I'm going to pinch it down, smash it, and then put my thread through it. Then I am going to let the first white one go down, and then I'm going to pick up the first black one, and I'm going to put my finger over this one. Then I'm going to pick up this one, put my finger over this one because I don't want my stitches to fall off. And keep going around. I'm going to turn my machine around a little bit. And then I'm going to pick up all these ones that, well, when it's new, it won't let you go too far. So you have to pick them up one by one until you get a little bit further in the machine. So let's see how many I can pick up right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is behind my little, I don't think I got that one all the way on there. Yeah, there it is. And I'm stretching a little bit. Normally I don't do that because that's an easy way to drop off your stitches. So there we go. That one is off. So then this one, all the ones with the little needles down, they're already off. So I'm going to pick up this one because it's still, let me see if I can get you a little bit closer. Maybe I have to put you on the other side to see how I'm taking the stitches off. Let me see. Let's go to this side. Sorry for the let's see if we can get a better angle over here. I'm trying to get a better angle. I don't want to drop any of my stitches off. I think the first video was better, so if you didn't see the first video, go back and watch yesterday's, because I think you can see better. Alright, I'm going to have to stand up because I do not want to drop off any of my stitches. I'm going to have to stand up. Alright. Alright. See if I can get this in the frame, maybe if I move it out a little bit. Then I'm going to turn my handle a little bit more to get a few more of my stitches off. Push my hand on that one. And you turn a little bit just to release your stitches, and then you take them off one by one through the little double prong, through the little double pegs. If you could see, this is what the stitches, you put the needle in here to take them off. These little double prongs right here. Yeah, so hopefully you can see those little double prongs. Okay, so I'm going to sit back down. pull my machine toward me a little bit more. And then keep cranking and keep pulling them off, pulling them off, pulling them off. All right. And it's easier to pull them off with like a bent tip little needle where it's thinner at the little tip part of it. Ooh, did my black one fall off? No, I put the black one up first. This time I should have picked up the white one first. But now that they're all off, I'll take my machine, set it to the side, like in the last video. And I can leave my needle on or take my needle off, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to stretch it. And I'm just going to stretch it out. Stretch it as far as it'll, excuse me. Stretch it and cinch. And then once you get it cinched up a little bit, you can stretch it before you cinch it, or you can stretch it after you cinch it. So I'm just going to keep on stretching it. Stretch this cinch part. Then I'm going to go down here, stretch this part. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then I'm going to start cinching it up from down here. Remember, don't pull too tight because you don't want to break the yarn, because if you break the yarn, you're liable to have to start all over. And this one's going to be another one where I'm just going to tie it in the middle. It's not going to be like the twisted headband. That one I need to cast on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie these two together. And then I'm going to use the yarn to just kind of go back and forth between them to close it up, close up my little hole a little bit better. So now this is what I have. How it's kind of loosey right there. It's just tied in the middle. So now I'm going to do that a little bit better. When other people do it a little bit better, then, you know, they take a little bit more care. But I figure it's all the same. So I'm just going to close up my holes a little bit by going through both sides. And you can use one strand to do this or two. It's up to you. Hopefully you guys are having a great December. It's kind of strange being back home. I've been in Virginia for almost 2 months. I still haven't even taken one of my suitcases out, the suitcase that I didn't go to Virginia with, because I got a lot of things from Ollie's. I got a lot of yarn from Ollie's. But I'm going to have to rearrange some of my things because I already had a lot of yarn before I even went to Virginia. I went to Virginia, bought way more yarn, but I couldn't beat those deals at Ollie's, so I indulged myself, and I probably should not have, but I did. And it's all good. And you end up with so much yarn because you have to, like, ooh, I got food. I had some noodles. Sorry. I had noodles for lunch. I think I wasted some on myself. But, so yeah, so I have to straighten up a little bit so that I can fit my yarn. Oh, but what I was saying, you end up with so much yarn because once you cast on and once you cinch up the project, then you get all that extra yarn that was around the machine. But it's okay. Just cinch up your product And then what you could do is you could take it and you can put them in there individually, put them in the middle of your ear warmers, headband, whatever you want to call it. So then I'm going to go over here to this one so that I can do them together. Okay. I want to put that out there. So I'm going to string them together now since they're coming out the same hole. Let me see. Where did my scissors go? I'm going to cut it a little bit. Now these strings, I could save them and put them in the middle of my amigurumi, and I may just do that. And if you go back to when I was in Virginia, at the beginning of the daily December dailies, I made some amigurumis, but I gave away quite a few of them in the airport to little kids I just saw. And I did that on purpose. I didn't want to bring them back. So I said, let me give them away. Give some kids early Christmas presents. So that's what I did. And then I gave one of the flight attendants on the plane, I gave her an amigurumi for her kid. I asked her if she had any little kids at home. She said she had a 5-year-old. And so I gave her, she had a little girl, so I gave her the little green and white, green and cream little triceratops that I had made. So I've woven it in through the middle, and so now I'm just going to cut it. So now, so you don't see that string anywhere on this side or on that side. And like I said, if you have, you can put like a button here or anything that you want to cover that if you want to. I might put a button there, I don't know. But this is what I made, and this is the yarn that I used, that I caked up, and I still have all of this, and it's barely put a dent in it. I probably could get maybe 4 or 5 more headbands out of this. Let me see if I can find the label for the yarn. I had it over here. Oh, here it is. Excuse me. This is Classic One Value, and this is from Yarn Inspirations. It's a Red Heart yarn, and it has it's 16 ounces, 454 grams, 867 yards, 792 meters. And I got this along with a white one, a green one, and a cream green, and this one. This color is called Papaya, and I got this at the Dollar Tree for $5, and it was a big old skein like this, and I still have this left, and I think I've already made a couple of headbands out of it, so I'm probably going to make a couple of hats on it as well. This works up, even though it's a red heart, it works up really good on the Centro machine, so it's not really a bad yarn to work with on the Centro. So that's what I have for you right now. Stay tuned, because I'm going to cast on with the waist yarn and cast off with waist yarn, and then show you how I crochet those together to make the twisted headband, the other one. So thanks for watching. God bless. You have an awesome and an amazing day. Be blessed, my friends. Bye-bye. Hi, YouTube. I'm back with another video, and this time I'm going to cast on my 40 needle Centro with some waist yarn. But before we do that, I've caked up this yarn, and I've also caked up this yarn. So I think I'm going to cast on with one of these yarns. I'm going to cast on with one of them, and then I'm going to make the beanie in the other one. So, but before we get started on that, I want to show you what the yarn is. This was another Dollar Tree yarn, but this one, the reason why I cake up my yarn, because this is a bunch of yarn barf, and this is what came out first, and I don't want to deal with that when I'm trying to make something. So usually I can untangle it and just keep going, but I wasn't able to untangle it in the beginning, so I just broke it and started started a fresh one and started casting on from this. I will fix this later. And this was from, this is the same yarn, Inspiration yarn from Dollar Tree, 800 and something yards. This was a 4 worsted, 100% acrylic, 16 ounces, 454 yards, 454 grams, 867 yards, and 792 meters. And this was the papaya one for the orange. This one is called green pea. And then this is another one that I got, same specs. And this one is called, I think, off-white. The color, yeah, the color of this one is off-white. So we're gonna go ahead and cast on our waist yarn. And I think, since I already have a white one, I think I'm gonna cast on with the white, with the off-white. And then, so I'm gonna remember, okay, let's go down here. I'm going to reset my counter back to 0. This is my first black needle, so I'm going to put my yarn under the first black needle and then behind the next one. So behind, front, behind, and front, behind. Cast on the same way. So I'm just going to front, behind, and front, behind, front, behind, and front, behind. So I should come, when I'm finished, I should be behind the last white needle. And I am. So I am going to move it around and put it inside of the, put it all the way down inside of the, forget what you call this, the yarn keeper. I'm just going to call it the yarn keeper. I'm going to put this on the ground. And then for waist yarn, I like to do at least about 10 rows of my waist yarn. So I like to do about at least 10 rows. That's 1. And the counter is going to count for me. And when I don't count the one that I was casting on as 1. So my counter is going to say 11, even though I'm going to go 10. And I may go more. I feel the more that I have cast on for my waist yarn, the less likely I am to use stitches. I mean, to lose stitches. And then the waist yarn, you can reuse it for something else if you take it off correctly. And one side of the waist yarn is easier to take off than the other. So we're at 10. And I'm going to go a little bit more because I can reuse this yarn at some other point. So let me see. All right, I think I'm going to, when it comes around this last time. All right, so now I am going to find my little scissors. And I am going to, this is my waist yarn. I'm going to clip this. And put this in the machine. And this is how you would change colors if you're going to change colors as well. So now I'm done with my waist yarn for now until I cast my project off. So I'm going to reset my counter so I'll know how many rows I'm going. I'm going to reset my counter and I'm going to get my green yarn because that's going to be the color of my headband or ear warmer or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put it in my tensioner. I'm going to put it in that tensioner. And I'm going to make sure that it goes underneath the first black peg. And I'm going to stand up for this. Making sure that it's going to go underneath. And then I'm going to kind of hold it to make sure that it's going to cast down and go underneath the black peg. And kind of go underneath all the pegs it needs to go under. Even if I need to pull some out, since I just caked up this and it's really tight on the inside. So I'm just going to pull up some of the string, and then I'm just going to go and make sure that I don't lose any of my stitches. So then also, if you, So I'll come around a little bit. If you can see where I cast on, where the black needle is, there's a little hole between the two that I cast on and cast off. So what I can do when I come back around is I can tie these two together just to, you know, they're gonna have to come apart because when I do the crocheting, they're gonna have to come apart. So I just put them together for now. And it says I'm at 5 rows. So I'm just gonna keep on doing this until it's time to cast on my bottom waist yarn, and then I'll come back and cast that on. Getting tight. So I'm gonna release some of my yarn because I just caked it up, so it's a little bit tight in there. I want to make sure that I'm not dropping any stitches off too. Sometimes I'll just, if the yarn winds up too tight in there, sometimes I'll just pull it up a little bit, pull out a little bit of it, so that I don't, make sure that I don't drop any stitches, because that's when you drop stitches and break this, when the yarn is too tight. I'm just taking some out. And then I'll just keep doing this until I get to my 90 rows, and then I'll come back and cast on with waist yarn, and then when I'm done, I'll show you how I crochet them together. So I will be back. Hi, I decided to come back and show you, if you wanted to change colors, what that looks like. So I'm going to change colors. I'm still going to cast off with my white, so I'm going to make this headband orange and green. So I'm going to take it out of the yarn feeder, and I'm going to take my color that I want to change to. I'm going to put that under the first black needle, and I went a little far from my needle. That's okay because it's still right there. So I'm going to stand up to do this again. So I'm going to make sure that it's deep into the yarn feeder, and make sure that it catches on my first black needle, catches all my needles around. And I'm going to go a few rows, and then I'm going to tie those two together. Because now there's a hole there. So now that, okay, let's see. Now I'm around over here. And I don't know if you can see that. Let's see, let's go a little bit further. I don't know if you can see that little hole right there, but that's where I changed colors. So now I've gone around a few, and I'm going to just pull these tight together, and I'm going to put a couple of knots in them so it doesn't come out. And then I'm going to go with the other color. I'm going to put a surgeon's knot, twist one color around twice, and then, yeah, then I'm going to do it, because this is going to be on the inside, so you're not going to be able to see it. And then I'm just going to keep on going until I get to my 90 rows. And then I'm going to cast on with the white waist yarn when I get to my 90 rows. So I'll be back. Okay, we're back because now we're at 90 rows. So now we have to cast on with our waste yarn again. Looking for my scissors. Okay, what do I do with my scissors? They're around here somewhere, but I'm gonna break it with my hand, and I can't find my scissors. But I need to break that off a little bit less. So I'm gonna take it out of the yarn feeder, and I'm gonna put that in the middle, and I'm gonna get my waste yarn back over here, which is my white, and I'm going to cast this under the first black needle. I'm going to put this in the yarn feeder so it doesn't jump out, and then I am going to cast on another 10 to 12 rows with this waste yarn color. And I'm going to stand up to do this, and maybe I'll find my scissors while I'm standing up. Where did my scissors go? I don't know what I did with them. I'll find them. Oh, there they are. They're on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that my waste yarn goes all the way around. I'm going to reset my counter so I'll know when I've gone around like 10 to 12 rounds. Cranking until I get enough, till I'm satisfied with how many rounds that I've got on my waste yarn. The more waste yarn, the less likely you are to drop your project, drop the stitches. And I'm at 10, 11, and I think this will be my last row. All right, so this is my last row of waste yarn. So I'm going to cut my waste yarn, and then I am going to drop it off. And since we're not going to like take them off with the needle, and we're doing it with waste yarn, we can just cast off all the way around and let the project fall off. But you have to be careful because these stitches are live. So now that we are done with that, we're going to stretch out our project. We're going to stretch out our project. And then the waste yarn project, we do it side by side. Same thing that I'm going to do to the one side, I'm going to do to the other side. So, okay, let me see. I'm going to come back.